Hello everyone, this is tutor of Uplatz. This is the third module of Salesforce learning sessions. If you want to know more about Uplatz, you can log on to uplatz.com or contact Uplatz by the mentioned email and phone number. Today we will talk about the different database relationships between the sObjects, and we'll talk about an application which we will be creating in this learning sessions. If we talk about some database relationships, then database relationships are like how one sObject is related to other sObjects. There are many ways to correlate or correlate sObjects, and one of them is lookup relationship. Then there is master detail relationship. Both are one-to-many type of relationship. We will talk about, or we will even create all these types of relationship in this coming modules. Other than lookup and master detail, there are external lookup relationship. External lookup relationships are the ones which we create with external objects. When we do the data integration, at that time external lookup will come into play. Other than this, we have hierarchical relationship. It is available only for user object. Like one user is at the top, and then there is other employees. Like if we talk about a hierarchy in of a school or a university, then there is principal and then head of the departments, professors, and student. So suppose if we have two users in Salesforce, one is a principal, then second one is a professor. Then we want to create a hierarchical relationship between those two users. So at that time, we use hierarchical relationships. Apart from above, we can also create below relationships as well, many to many relationship using junction object. We will be creating junction object in our application, and there is at last a one-to-one relationship. A one-to-one relationship is nothing but where table 1 is associated with only one record of table 2. Then it is called one-to-one relationship. Now, in our this learning session, or in our whole learning session of Salesforce Admin, we will be creating an application of a student application. Uh, a student application would be like, we create a student application and understand the company profile. As I've already explained, and if we're creating student application, we create certain profiles, so that like profile, like who can access what details in that application. Like there is a principal profile, and then there is a professor profile, and then there is a student profile. Data security is one of the important thing to be considered. So we don't want students to see the data of professors, and so that we will create profiles, and profiles will make sure users can access data only which they should access on that application. Well, introduction to the application and business functionality, and introduction to different users of the applications, security requirements, business rules, workflow and approvals required. And at the end, we'll also talk about reports and dashboards. And if we talk more about what type of application we will be building, and then Cloud University has decided to use Salesforce to automate some of the basic student management process, which are done using Excel sheets and some legacy standalone applications. Student application will be used to track details of different students by department, courses opted by them, grades obtained. There are three types of users of this applications, as I've already explained. At the top, there will be principal, then professors, and then students. So we will be creating three profiles accordingly. And student master basic data model. Student master will store all the basic student details, including their department name, date of birth, email ID, address, phone number, etc. We'll create an sObject in Salesforce. We name it student, and we'll create all these fields mentioned here. Student master record will be created and submitted for review when a student joins the university. Student marks grades will capture based on result, combination, semester, subject. We will be creating these three different object. One is the student object. We call it student master or student. And then we create a student marks as object, and then student requests. Student marks will be related to student object with the master detail relationship, and the student request also will be related to student master with the master detail relationship. The basic security model, as I've already explained, data is one of the main uh, who can see the data is a main concern. So principal should be able to view all the students master records from all the departments. Professors should be able to view, edit, or create student records from each particular department. Student can only see their own records and cannot make any changes. Any changes to students details has to be submitted as a request. I have created a small table like student master, student grades, and student requests. CRUD is nothing but create, read, update, and delete. Principal will have all the CRUD permissions. Principal should be able to create, read, update, and delete record. Principal will is the one. Principal is the user who has a principal profile assigned to it. So we'll be creating three profiles: principal, professor, and student. So principal profile will have all the CRUD operation, all the CRUD permissions. Then our second profile is professor profile. Professor profile will have CRU, create, read, update. We don't give delete access to professors. Then students should only have read only access to student table and student grades table. But student requests will be raised by students, so students should have create access or update access to update their requests. Then what system admin will have, then we will talk in depth what organization wide default or OWD settings are in. Then there is view all and modify all permissions. If you mark view all or modify all permission, then regardless of the access, that particular user can see the data created by other users. And OWD is nothing but the permissions on that test subject. If you want if there are two users and you don't want those two users to see each other's data, then we'll mark it as private, so that user one won't be able to see the data of second user. If you mark it as public, then user one will be able to see the data created by user two, or vice versa. But if we mark view all, if we give view all permissions, then even though OWD settings are private, user will still be able to see the data. And same with the case of modify all. And then we will also create reports in in the Salesforce system, so that principal should be able to see a list of students by department. Principal can see a performance report of student, number of students by grade, etc. Now the demo of app creation and object creation. Now we will create an application in Salesforce. Application is nothing but a container which will hold all the required tabs or all the required information. So after the application, we will also create an object, our master object, or we give it a name as student. I have already logged into Salesforce, but if you want to log into Salesforce, you go to this URL, login.salesforce.com. After that, my username is this sfdc1@uplatz.com, and then there is password. Click on login. First time it asks for register your mobile number. I don't want to register my phone. I click on this option. I don't want to register my phone. Then it will navigate to the home page. As a system administrator, the default page is the setup page. We can change it in the profile settings. So first thing is we will create the container, our application. So to create an application in Salesforce, in the setup, in the quick find box, we'll go to app manager. We'll type app manager or click on app manager, and then we have new lightning application option. We click on new lightning app. Okay, so application name, we give Uplatz University. We'll give this name. Then developer name is nothing but a unique name to that application's unique name. It cannot hold any spaces, so it automatically added underscore. Then we can enter description. Description is not a compulsory field. uh, Fields with the asterisk sign are compulsory. We must give some value to the fields have asterisk. So enter description, we can give a description. It will to manage the student data. Oops. To manage the student data. Okay, so as we have already discussed the app branding, there are different logos available. On the image, we click on upload and we'll add one logo. Here we go. We added Uplatz logo. Click on next. Then there are navigation and form factor, how you want this application to look like, standard navigation or console navigation. You want to access this application to on desktop and phone, or we have option to choose only desktop or and only phone. Setup experience, we want survey setup or setup full set of options. And then we have app personalization setting, disable end user personalization of navigation items in this app, disable temporary tabs for items outside of this application. Currently we are not going to mark it, we're going to leave it as default, because we don't want to disable uh, the personalization of this application. We want to personalize this application once we will create it. So I'll leave the options as default. Then next, if we want to add any utility items, click on add utility items. These are all items available here. You want to add notes here, you want to add any visual force page, or so many options are. Currently we don't need any utility items, so we will leave it as default. Then available items, currently we have not created anything, so we will, as of now, we will leave as it is. We click on next, and as of now we have not created any profiles, so by default these profiles are available in Salesforce. We have created this organization, we have created this free developer edition, so by default a system administrator profile is assigned to us. So I click on system administrator, click on, move it to the right side and save and finish. Now users who have system administrator profile can access this application. If we want to see how this application looks, then we click on this app launcher. There we go. We have service applications, sales applications, community marketing, and we have Uplatz University applications. We click on this application. This is how our application will look like. Right now, there are no items because we have not added any items. The navigation items, we leave it as default. We didn't add any navigation items, so there is nothing here. To create any objects and tabs, we click on this gear icon, then setup. It'll open in the next tab. We'll create our first object named student and add it to this application. To create an object, we come to setup and then we click on object manager. To create an S object, we have two options. One is go to the Schema Builder, and we can from the Schema Builder, or we can click on create and click on custom objects. We will explore Schema Builder as well, but as of now, I'm choosing this custom object. Label, we give student. Plural label will give students. Object name is nothing but a unique name. It cannot hold spaces. Uh, if we add student, if we master, then it will automatically add student underscore master. But as of now, will stay with the student name, not student master. Well, we can give description. Description is optional. It's not required field. These fields with this red line are the required fields. Description we can give, it will hold student, it will hold student information. Okay, if the next option is context sensitive help setting. If suppose we have, if suppose we have created a custom visual force page and we want to look as per our requirement, then we can click on visual force page and then content name. From here we can select, choose our visual force page. As of now this is a free developer edition and we have not created any page, so that's why this is empty. So we will go with the standard page. And when we create an object, then by default we have to create one field in it. And to create this field we have two data types available. One is text and other one is auto number. As of now we are creating student object, so we must have a field named student name. So we will leave it as it is, student name, and data type is text. If we don't choose text, we choose auto number, then auto number is nothing but a field which will auto increment itself. We'll create auto number in our for other s objects, but as of now we need the name, so we will click on text. We have then optional features when we talk about reports, where we use this. um, if you want to create a report type, then we click on allow report, then it will automatically create a report type. We will discuss this thing when we work on reports. If you want to allow in activities, want to track field history, if you want to track the field history of the test subject, we can click on this. And allow in chatter groups. Chatter is a, we'll discuss chatter in our later modules. Object classifications is allow sharing, allow bulk API access, allow streaming API access. Then the deployment status, we want to keep it in development or deployed. We want to deploy. And allow search, I'll mark it allow search. And once we create an object, it won't be accessible unless we create a tab. So once we create an object, it won't be visible here. To make it visible here, we will create a tab and add that tab here so that we can access from here. Okay, now if we click on the save without checking this launch new custom tab wizard, then it will create this s object, but tab won't get created. To create the tab, we again navigate to the tabs, and from that we need to create new tabs. So I'll check this here, click on save, and it will auto navigate us to the tab wizard. Here object is student, and from tab style you can choose the different colors here. As of now we are creating student application, so I'll choose books. Description is optional. If you want, you can give description here. Next, then when we create a free developer edition of Salesforce, then there are applications which are already created by default. We have seen that in app launcher, and currently we'll leave it as default. We'll create it default onto the applications. Well, these are not applications but profiles. When we create a free developer editions, then then there are profiles which are already created. So our profile is system administrator. It is default on for users who have system administrator profile. After that, we click on next. Then we have custom application. My bad. Here we have all the applications. We want this to be visible on all the applications, or we want to visible to on only the particular applications. Currently it's a student application, so there is no purpose student to be visible on sales and service applications. So I'll just uncheck this box. I'll Uplatz University. So only this application can add this tab. At the end, we click on save. Now we go to setup, and we go to app manager settings, and in app manager settings we will, in the navigation items, we will add a student from there. Click on app manager. We click on app manager. We edit this application. At the end, we have Uplatz University. We click on this icon and then click on edit. In the navigation items, now we will search for student. Here we have students tab. We click on save. Now, now our university application can access this. Now we go to here, we'll reload this application. Okay, I reloaded the application and the name is visible here. Tab is visible here. Now you click on students. We have new option. We have import or we have change owner options. Import if we want to import it from the Excel sheets, or you click on new. Here as of now, there are no fields we have created. This is the by default field. We will create our records Uplatz 1 and we click on save. Once we click on save, we added value for only one field and it automatically created the values on these four records. These are the standard fields. When we create when we create an sObject, it creates some of the fields. These we call standard fields. We created the name field, but it automatically created the created by field, owner of that field, and last modified by field. It contains the name of the user who created this record and the timestamp also. The last modified is the one who last updated this record and with the timestamp. We again click on student and we have one record visible here. If we create multiple records, all those records will be visible here. We have created one application and we have created one sObject today, and we added from that sObject, we created a tab and then we added the tab to that application, and then we created a record in our student object. Now in our later modules, we'll create some more objects and create some more fields to the fields to the student object. Thank you so much. Have a happy learning.